Tinubu supported the annulment. I mean, now we're going after the election. So he supported the annulment of June 12th presidential election.
Well,
Are you
again,
saying that,
that was
a false claim?
not only false. I said it's hagiography and an attempt at revisionism, and an attempt to cover his own pernicious role in supporting and trading off that critical sacred mandate given to MKO. And I will explain to you. Tinubu, immediately after the annulment was announced, of course, threw his hat into the ring. Don't also forget that the late Yar'Adua's mother or father or somebody died in Katsina. MKO, we were with him in his sitting room in Lagos. He was making arrangements to fly to Katsina to go and sympathize with. So by the time MKO came, sympathized with Yar'Adua, the announcement had been made for the total cancellation. It was this same Tinubu that MKO called. Immediately he landed in Lagos to start the preparations for the onslaught against that unjustifiable announcement. So Tinubu was from the get-go deeply involved in the struggle to actualize this mandate, and he went on it. Where was Sule Lamido?
So how come?
Wait a minute.
Okay.
When the initial wave of protests against the annulment, where was Lamido? I can tell you authoritatively, because I was part and parcel of the protest, the planning and execution. Tinubu was one of the funders and one of the organizers, one of the planners of all the protests, July 23, 24, 25 of 1993 against the annulment. This was well before Abacha. Abacha did not come until November 17th, 1993. And how Abacha also came was not behind us. We knew, and now you see the photo that's making the rounds when MKO went to see Abacha upon Abacha's assumption of office. You see that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu was in that picture. MKO, Tinubu, and Abacha. Asiwaju was the one that escorted MKO to go and see Abacha to negotiate how Abacha will relinquish office and hand over back to MKO. How Tinubu came to accompany MKO was something that had been crafted the night before, and I was there. I'm a living witness. Where was Sule Lamido? Now, when Tinubu was doing all of this?
It's interesting because then he talks about the president's mother.
Yeah.
Organizing market women from Lagos to show support for then head of state IBB Ibrahim.
That's a lie from the pit of hell. Alhaji Abibat Mogaji was a very prominent and important market leader in Lagos who commanded large following among the women folk and market people in Lagos. Now, when IBB was stepping aside, he brought in this contraption called Interim National Government, ING. Now, Tinubu and other pro-democracy, pro-June 12 activists were strenuously fighting for the restoration of that mandate. However, IBB got the Yar'Adua people, faction of the party, that held the executive positions of SDP via Tony Aneni, who was chairman, and Sule Lamido, the secretary, to agree to that contraption, while the Tinubu and other pro-June 12 Democrats refused and insisted on the restoration of the mandate. It was the chairman, but they were not in the executive. It was Sule Lamido and Tony Aneni, the late Aneni, that were the executive members of the party, chairman and secretary. They signed away the mandate of June 12. They agreed and they traded it off. They agreed with the interim government arrangement, which the Tinubu and other, the Papa Jashi, when he was saying that some of them were not even supporters of June 12, is a lie. That was how the Sule Lamido and co traded off that mandate. So his attempt at revisionism is actually to cover up his pernicious tracks.
So this chicken of June 12th story has come home to roost. What we're currently hearing since the weekend when Sule Lamido came and made assertions, both claims that Bola Tinubu contributed to the annulment of June 12th, and that he played a key role, and that Bola Tinubu is trying to revise history. It's gotten Nigerians talking. And not only that, Dele Alake has come on TV to talk about how Lamido, Sule Lamido, and Tony Aneni contributed to the annulment or the eventual cancellation of the June 12th and the agreement to an interim government of Shonekon before Abacha came on. And that Lamido was trying to revise history because it was a key player in the annulment of June 12th. And that Bola Tinubu and his mother were contributors to the June 12th struggle, and that Bola Tinubu played a key role, that he himself is the first eyewitness of exactly what happened during the June 12th struggle. Remember, the rise of almost of all of these guys in politics is based off of June 12th story. Atiku gave space for MKO to run before he dropped out. Bola Tinubu supported him being a senator at the time. His mother also was a very influential person, and the story goes on and on. But again, the stories, the chicken, as I said, is come home to roost. And we're going to get to the end of it because from the time IBB did its book launch, trying to revise what happened, and Nigerians have called him out for more and more stories are coming out. Okay, but I don't want to be caught up in this. I don't want Nigerians to be caught up in these purely academic stories now, because it's now all academic. What happened in 1993 is what has thrown Nigeria into where Nigeria is at the moment. But the key thing here that I want to bring into your attention is that the same people who threw the country into this mess that we're in are the same people who are still in and around the corridors of power, 30 plus years and counting after 1993, 2025. The same people who have sat there, destroyed the country, and are still the same people around power dictating where Nigeria goes. That's why Nigeria cannot move forward. Every time you look at Nigeria, from the time of military to now, the nation is always shaped in the image of the individual or the individual in place of authority, whether at the state level or the federal level. The country is always shaped in that image. And even after the military has been out of way for so long since democracy and this stable democracy we've had, the same set of people who came from that same mindset are the same people still doing exactly what the military used to do. They used to impound Nigerians when they criticized them. Our politicians do the same things. You call the politicians out, they lock you up. There's no free speech in Nigeria because they tell you you have free speech until you don't have it. That's exactly what happens. Our judicial system is corrupt, just the same way it was corrupt during the military. So you can see that if you take exactly what happened in the military time to what is happening right now, you'll realize that we're still within the same fight for freedom as a nation, even after democracy. I'll give you an example to substantiate this idea I'm trying to share. If you look at each state, there's always one political godfather or another. And the state is always shaped in the image of that political godfather. For example, if you take Castina, the Yados are one of the biggest stakeholders in Castina state, and their voice puts way to where the state moves. So the state is shaped in their image. Look at the Lagos state. Look at the way Bola Tinubu has held reign of Lagos state for so long, and he still dictates who becomes governor, state out of rep till today. The state is shaped in his image. Where he wants the state to go is where the state goes, not where the people want it to go. Look at one of the chief of them is the Adedibus in Oyo State, Lamidi Adedibu. Look at what happens to Oyo State. The state has never moved forward. It still remains the same. Look at Anambra State, the Ubas. And then the new player in River State, Wike. Look at exactly what they've done with each of these states. The state is always shaped in the image of these guys. Always. Never in the image of the people. As a people, where do we want our country to go? So that if you're not there, or regardless of who is there, the state is going in that direction of of equity, justice, and fairness for all. That's why I don't want you guys to get caught up in all of this. Whatever role Bola Tinubu played, or Dele Alake played, or Lamide Adedibu played, or Antonia Nenin played, because it's purely academic right now. Look at the results of what the roles they played. Destruction. The new Nigerians being born today don't have an idea what good leadership means. Many Nigerians today don't have an idea what effective governance means. So don't get caught up in all of these fight for power between former friends. All along, they kept quiet. Why didn't they talk about this some 20 years ago? Why is it now? The same Bola Tinubu who said he fought for democracy is the same ones whose ascension to the presidency is based off of corruption. So what has changed? It means that it's just the same old mindset. They jumped on the bandwagon of MKO or June 12, and they used that to seize power. But they're always very corrupt. This government is rife with corruption. So don't get caught up in Dele Alake's claim or Lamido's claim. We'll let this story play out in the public so we can now start to have proper idea exactly what happened, who did what. And then we can then start to call them about, most importantly, the lessons learned. But my own idea is that until these guys are pushed out of power, Nigeria will remain where Nigeria is. Nigeria is not moving forward until these guys. We need to work hard 2027 to make sure that all these old guards be removed. We need to bring people fresh ideas, that we can design a country that is in the direction of the people, a people-centered country rather than individual-centered country. Until Nigeria becomes a people-centered country, not a Bola Tinubu-centered country, Nigeria is not going to move forward. It's as simple as that. And that's why we have all of these people come around. They're all just old friends. After this fight, they'll come back and reconcile. And they'll be, it's always about their interests, not about Nigerians. So put your comments in the comment section. Let us know what you think. And also don't forget to like, share, and recommend this content and this channel to others. I'll catch you up in the next video. But don't forget as well, subscribe. Bye-bye for now, and God bless you.